Hello and welcome to the Pizza Marketplace podcast. I'm Mandy Detwiler, editor of Pizza Marketplace, and I'm here today with John Arena, who owns several pizzerias, and we're going to learn a little bit more about those today. John, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thanks for the invitation, Mandy. It's great to see you.
You come from a long line of Pizzaiolos. Can you tell us about your family's pizza making heritage?
Okay, well, I started working in my family pizzeria in New York. I made my first pizza on September 7th, 1967, with my uncles and my dad. And the very first pizza that I made got sold, and I was hooked. I was 13 years old. The fact that I could make something with my hands and people would pay money for it was like magic.
Awesome. So let's talk about your pizzeria, Truly Pizza. It's in Dana Point, California. Is that right?
Right.
Right.
Dana Point it's near Laguna, if that's a good reference point. It's right on the
Right.
coast. It's beautiful.
So,
Beautiful community.
beautiful community. Tell us a little bit about the constituents there, that not the constituents, but the customers who come into the restaurant.
It's a mix of locals and a lot of tourists that are coming to Southern California for the beaches. That location is 2 blocks from the beach. It's in a beautiful seaside community. Um, it's a great demographic. The weather is nice all the time. It's just a wonderful place to be, and I had an opportunity there because of a former employee who wanted to build a pizzeria, and we jumped at the chance, and it's been a phenomenal success, and it's given Chris Decker, who you probably know is
I
like
know.
my son, it's
Yeah.
given him an opportunity to really flex his artistic capabilities and do something really special.
Well, Truly Pizza boasts a powerhouse team with award-winning pizzaiolos. How did this incredible collaboration come about, and what unique talents does each member bring to the institution?
Okay, well, I have to start with my partner in that venture, Donna Baldwin. Now, Donna worked for me when she was in high school. But she started working for me about 2 months after we opened, we opened June 1st, 1980, and Donna was in high school at the high school around the corner from our shop, and we gave her a job as a counter, like a cashier and phone answerer, because people still ordered by phone back in the old days, and we remained friends over the next 40 some years. She went off to have a very successful career in the casino industry and hospitality industry, hotels, and luxury hotel and casino business. And she retired to Laguna, and she always kept up with my pizza adventures. And she just called me up one day and said, "Let's build a really cool pizzeria in Dana Point." And we went out there, Chris and I. We found a nice location. Donna built us a beautiful space, gave us all the support that we needed to do something really special. She basically said, "What would your dream pizzeria be like? Let's build it."
And
So
you
we did.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is gorgeous. We hear a lot about Truly Pizza's you have a 5-day fermented dough. Is that right?
Yes, we do. And that was a collaboration. Um, Chris Decker and I, over the years, we started to work with Mike Vacnine, who's also a local Las Vegas pizza maker. And we had like kind of a laboratory in one of my pizzerias in our bakery. And and Mike and I and Chris would get together several times a week for about 2 or 3 years. And first, we started with the visualization of what we wanted our ideal pizza to be, and then we just went from there and said, "What do we need to do to get there?" So we changed fermentation techniques, dough handling, and dough management in various forms, and different ingredients, different formulas, and zeroed in on what we wanted. And we just vowed from the beginning to just be relentless and not compromise anything, and we had the resources to do it, so we did it.
Is 5 days, that's a long ferment, isn't it?
5 days is on the far high end now. It used to be unheard of. People are doing longer fermentation now. And there's different ways to where you want to be, and that's the one that works for us and is manageable with the space considerations that we have. it's not for everybody. Most people don't have the space to do 5-day fermentation. They don't have the
Right.
time. But we feel that it adds some qualities that can't be achieved any other way. They can be approximated, but not achieved in other ways.
Your menu offers both classic and innovative pizzas. How do you strike a balance between traditional and experimentation?
I think first of all, you have to start with the basic things that you know that everybody's going to order and everybody's going to want that are familiar, and then you have to establish trust with your guests so that they see you, perceive you to be somebody that does controlled, calculated innovation. You know, if you're just all over the map, if you're creating things that are too challenging, don't have any link to what you've done in the past or what your customer base is searching for, it's not accepted. It has to be something, you know, that kind of growth. It's a journey that the pizza maker is taking, and also a journey that the guest has to be taking. So you got to be mindful of that and not try to lead them in a path that's going to be too challenging or
Right.
too experimental or, you know, too basically too strange. You know, you have to be careful about how you do that growth, and there has to be a bond of trust. We started at Truly from the beginning as establishing ourselves as a place where you were going to find things that were familiar and things that were different. And by building the trust in the things that were familiar, you have this certain clientele that will say, "Hey, yeah, I'll try something different. These guys have always been good. They've always done things that are kind of cool and fun." So even our basic cheese pizza is probably a little bit different than what they're used to, but it's not so different that they can't put their head around it.
What are some of those more unusual pizzas that you all are serving?
You know, Chris is really a specialist. Chris and Michael have been really good at coming up with using different ingredients, using some things that are maybe Middle Eastern inspired, Asian
Okay.
inspired. You know, we do a mushroom pizza, for example. It's a mushroom pizza, but it has bonito flakes on it. So when it comes to the table, it's got this the flavor of bonito flakes, which is an umami kind of flavor, but also the bonito flakes are kind of waving, so the pizza has motion when it comes to the table. It seems a little weird at first, but when you bite into it, you're like, okay, I get this flavor. The flavors work.
Now, you're using California focused ingredients, is that right?
At anywhere where it makes sense, not at this, you know, I mean, California has such an abundance of produce, an abundance of artisan cheesemakers, abundance of, you know, great tomatoes, obviously, as everybody knows, olive oil, that's fantastic. So it's not that hard, you know, if you're in Nevada and you're trying to use local ingredients that are sourced from a few miles outside of Las Vegas, it might not be that easy. But when you're in California, it seems completely natural.
Now, you guys offer more than just pizza. What are some of those other dishes?
But we're doing pizza, we're doing salads, we're doing some appetizers. Like we do a wonderful harissa chicken wing, which is actually using Mike Vacknine has a background. His ethnic background is from North Africa, so we have some spices that we're using that are incorporated into some what would seem like a regular dish that's always on a pizza menu, but we have a different spin on it because of the introduction of these other spices, other seasonings, other flavor profiles. We're always mindful of how we're utilizing contrast in seasoning and also contrast in texture, color. You know, Chris is a master of utilizing aesthetics, color, and shapes that make the food particularly attractive. Michael is also very good at that. So we've done
Okay.
that. We're getting ready to open a gelateria right next door to our pizzeria that is going to have the same aesthetic and same
Oh, that's
values
fun.
and sensibility.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one of the things that caught my eye about Truly is that it really is an absolutely beautiful building. Um, and you guys built it from scratch, is that right?
We did, and that's all Donna. Donna, because of her background in the hotel industry, is very careful about the aesthetics of the space and how the space feels and how it functions and she utilized her contacts in the high-end resort industry to help us design the space and choose the colors and the shapes and the furniture. Everything was very carefully selected and curated. The people that did our landscaping, for example, were the set designers for the Jurassic Park movies.
Oh, wow.
So
That's interesting.
extremely talented movie set designers.
Sure.
When we built Truly, our idea was we wanted it to feel like you were in Sorrento, because the weather in Dana Point is similar to Sorrento, the atmosphere, the climate, the fact that it's right near the beach. And that we said to our designers, uh, make it feel like we're sitting outside at a beautiful pizzeria in Sorrento. And that's exactly what they did. And they just absolutely nailed it.
It's gorgeous. It's an absolutely beautiful building.
Thank you. We're really proud of it.
So, what role do you see Truly playing in the Dana Point community?
Um, you know, Obviously, Dana Point community has been a big tourist attraction before we got there, and they'll continue to be forever. But we thought that we could bring something in terms of building a destination-worthy pizzeria that can has the potential to get national and international attention to that area, which then will call attention to all the other great restaurants in the area.
Okay. Um, are there any exciting new menu items coming up?
Um, there's always exciting stuff, but I'm reluctant to share that because we always like it to be surprised when they come out.
What are some of the other menu items that you've put out that are similar to what you've got coming up?
Very tricky, Mandy. I like your style. Um, we're always working on new things, and most of them are seasonally based. So Chris is always a couple of months ahead on that, as you know the way Chris works. So he would be definitely better suited to talk about that,
Sure.
about what he's got in his pipeline. He always likes to do a big reveal. So I'm going to stay
Okay.
away from that one. Nice
um,
try, though.
uh, always trying. So, with your experience, what's one piece of advice that you would give to a fledgling pizza maker or someone who's aspiring to be a pizzaiolo?
You have to immerse yourself. You have to be constantly aware of what everybody is doing, not so you can copy them, but so you can make it your own. Don't be content with adhering to the guidelines. Once you've mastered the fundamentals, don't be content with adhering to the guidelines of a particular style or what's commonly accepted. The great thing about pizzas is that it's not only part of a tradition and craft, but it's also a method of self-expression. So you
Right.
don't want to, yes, you want to carry on tradition, but you also want to take the ball and move it forward. You want to do
Right.
something that other people can build on, that your craft can be built on. You don't want to be the greatest imitator in the world. There's no fun in that. At some point, you have to make it your own.
What are some of the ways to make it your own? What are some of the things that you would recommend?
I think you have to, first of all, you have to have a clear picture of what your ideal is. What would your ideal pizza be if it were not constrained by the expectations of what you find in a particular region or a particular city or made in a particular method? But how do you go beyond that? How do you look at everywhere you go, you should immerse yourself in the local pizza culture and do it in a way that you not only go into other pizza makers are famous for this. They go into other places and they pick out the million things that they think the other guy's doing wrong. Well, you don't learn anything from that. Go to the other guys and catch them doing something right. Catch them doing something that you can say, "Wow, I could use that. I could take that and I could make it better." If you catch them doing something wrong, you better start looking at yourself and see what you're doing that might be similar to what you didn't like somewhere else. But
Right.
if you catch them doing something right, you got to say, "How do I make this my own? How do I take this component? What's making this place special?" I can give you an example. Tony Gemignani and I walked New York late at night on last Monday night. We were both in New York City, and we probably visited 25 pizzerias. Now this, I'm walking with very a guy that can definitely make a case for being the best pizza maker ever in America, and he's still trying to learn. He's still going into mom and pop shops with his eyes wide open, looking to see what they're doing and seeing if there's anything that he can learn from them.
Right.
So you have to have that attitude of constant quest for knowledge and growth, and be receptive to it.
Okay. And I guess my final question is Truly going to be one of a kind, or could there be more in the future?
I think in concept, it's certainly one of a kind. There will be more in the future. The plans
Awesome.
are already in motion for that.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. This has been amazing.
Okay, thanks, Mandy. It's always great to see you.
Always great to see you as well.